Alright people, you know the drill, it's core review time. We got cores, we got reviews, they're going to go on this handy dandy tier list. As always, we're still on 2k24 because it's just the fairest way to make sure that everyone can still be involved. So go ahead and drop your cores to the hashtag breadstick on 2k24. Without any further ado, let's get into it. So we kick things off today with Ben Hammer. Now, first impressions, there's some good elements to this. So first things first, yes, there has been face morphing. However, the face template, the face photo, there is a lot that's wrong with this. The mouth isn't morphed properly, the nose isn't lined up properly. You've got these weird outlines of, like, you know, background and whatnot. You know, get yourself some Photoshop, blend that thing out, because right now, yeah, sure, the morph is good, but when we get into the gear, I'll show you what I mean by, like, it's very obvious what's going on here. And the fact that that side's darker than this side is always also going to hold you down a little bit. But you know, fair enough. You know, the face morph is decent and it's relatively unique. I just think with a better face texture, it would stand out a lot better. And then gear wise, it's fine. Nothing super standout-ish. I like it. I like this this sleeve here. That's nice. If we have a quick little look at the tattoos, these are blended in quite nicely. That tattoo's quite nice. Not sure how I feel about the white at the bottom, but it is what it is. That cuts off, so you need to retweak that. That bleeds a little bit. So, you know, you've got it down, but there's still a few technical issues with the face texture and the tattoos that kind of hold you down a little bit. And as you can see there, you'll see a small little speck of white from the face texture. Ah, yeah, there we go. So honestly, that's not a bad cover up, to be honest. That actually that works really well. Now that I know it's there, I can see it. That's the problem. But to the untrained eye, you would not be able to see that at all. That's actually a really good fix. I would very much recommend either getting yourself a hair texture or something to hide that one spot, or just do what you did with the body tattoo. So where does Ben Hammer place on the tier list? I think it's an alright core, but unfortunately some of the technical elements, i.e. the carve of the tattoo, the small bleed, the face texture not being like the best. At least you try covering it up, but still, I can see it, I know. So I would probably say a high C tier, I think is fair. Tweak that stuff, come back, and I guarantee you'll probably be a higher grade. Next up for review, we have Evan Grace. Now, first impressions, that's alright, isn't it? So here's the biggest issue I have, right? As I always say, face morphing will get you far. However, I have seen a lot of morphing on Old Reliable to the point where you have to do something incredibly special with Old Reliable for me to kind of go, yeah, no, I see the morphing here. I know it's Old Reliable, you can't move the eyes, you've tried moving the eyes, but like I said, there is a workaround, and as always, I will leave that up there for you all to check out, because again, it's a very good fix if you're on 2k24 and you still can't fix that. I will give you props for at least attempting face morphing. However, like I said, it takes a lot more than just slightly moving the nose and tweaking the mouth to really make a unique morph. You've really got to go in with the head structure and really look at the details that makes a face look unique. That will be what takes you to a higher level. And then we have two gears. So there's no entrance gear because this is the entrance gear. This is their actual gear. Now, it's fine. It's fine. It's just a little bit bland for my liking, right? Like, you've got a color scheme. It works. But I don't know who you are, right? Like, this to me screams indie wrestler's first gear look, right? Like, just gear that you could wear to wrestle and to at least get your reps in. But none of this screams who you are to me. And that is always going to bring you down a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I thought there would be more, but unfortunately, I'm not seeing it. So where does Evan Grace go on the tier list? I mean, it's fine, but there's nothing standoutish, and I do think that if you worked on the face morphing a little bit more and maybe kind of found your stride with a gimmick and a look that stands out and tells the world who you are, I think you would be somewhere. I'm gonna go with a high D tier for this one, I think, personally. Next up, we have Gray the King Matthews. Now, I think it might be Gary, but I'm not sure. It was spelled Gray the King Matthews on community creations, so I'm gonna go based off of that. First impressions, it's an alright look. See, this is where things get really, really annoying because I know this face texture. Like, I know this template really well. So yeah, we figured it out. There's been no face morphing. The template's fine, but I'd love to see a little bit more morphing. It just makes it more unique, right? Like, that's the thing. It's like, it's all well and good, but I need to see some uniqueness. Now, the second gear's fine. We don't often review second gears. We usually review first gears. And this gear is fine. I like the look. I like the hair with the beard. That works. I like the shirt, but I don't know why. But, like, the shirt gives me... I don't want to say it, but the shirt kind of worries me a little bit that it might be the old AI. I don't know why, it just does, and I'm gonna say it now. It's the first time I'm ever saying this, and it's the first time I've ever had to address it. I do not use AI in CAWs, and I'm gonna keep it real. If you use AI in CAWs, yeah, I'm not a fan of that. So yeah, just letting that be known. If you use AI for logos and whatnot within a core, I'm never going to be a fan of it, because to me, you either learn how to make your art or find stuff from Google and you Photoshop it until it works in the way that you want it to work. That's nice. That's nice. But if that's not AI, then I apologize. If you made that logo yourself, then I apologize, but I don't know. But I'm always going to be against that. Again, we got issues here where, like, there's a lot of inconsistencies in color scheme. You've got blue there, white and gold, red and black, gold. It's a little bit all over the shop. Let's have a look at the gear without the shirt. It's an alright look. There's that logo again. I don't know why. It seems like it's like a stock image or it's AI. I don't know. But either way, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's an alright look, but it's not one I'm a massive fan of. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, where does Gray the King Matthews go on the tier list? I'm gonna be completely honest, like I said. It's an alright look, but it's not one I'm personally a massive fan of. Again, I would have liked to have seen some face morphing. And I think that the gimmick of the king is a little bit overused, and I didn't really see that within your character. So I'm going to go with a middle-of-the-road C tier. So next up for review, we have Scythe. Now, first impressions, I actually really like this look, I can't lie. So the first thing I'm seeing here is it feels like there's a face texture here. You can tell by the nostrils. And yeah, sure, this might be the standard face template, but like, it looks like it's been morphed ever so slightly to work, and with like the texturing of the actual face texture, it looks really nice actually. I can't lie. The morph is done really well as well, and honestly, it's an overall solid look. Now we actually get into the core itself. We got street gear. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah, hell yeah. And then when we actually get into like the tattoos and stuff, this is where things get a little crazy. So we got body hair as well. Maybe that tattoo could be toned down just a little bit, but I'm not gonna like fault you too much for that. This sleeve is nice, but I get the way feeling it might be two that overlap. There's a few that overlap there. I would just be very careful with that. Try and move things around so they don't overlap as much, because otherwise you get those messy bits in the middle. Like if you look just there, like you'll see that overlaps, and that can bring it down just a little bit for me. Again, that's like a technical element. I like the hair as well. Everything just sort of works with this core, and I think that's always a nice thing to see. And then let's have a quick little look at the gear as well. I like this gear. This screams like backyard hardcore, dude. It really does. I like the chain. I like that there as well. I don't think that's in the ring gear though, is it? No. I don't think you need to get rid of that for the ring gear unless you physically couldn't do it because of 2K. To me, that would have been really nice to have in the in-ring as well. But apart from that, this is your really, really solid core. I can't lie to you. This is a really nice looking core. There's a few, like, there's one really small technical element. I'm really inclined to kind of give it the benefit of the doubt on this one. Where does Scythe go on the tier list? I'm so close to saying, welcome, my friend, but I can't, unfortunately. It's a really high A tier. Next up for review, we have the Outsider. Now, first impressions, what in the Jared Leto is this? Okay, so the morph is fine. Everything lines up. The nose could be tweaked in Photoshop a little bit more. It is a little bit like you need to use the goddamn dodge tool on that, just ever so slightly, because that is the darkest part of the texture. But the bleed is relatively noticeable, but the morph is fine. It's somewhat unique. I don't think the lips are fully lined up, but it is what it is. It looks okay. I think this is an alright look. It's not my cup of tea. However, the one thing I'm noticing straight away, there's a bit of bleed on these tattoos, and that is gonna bring you down a little bit. Like, you can see that it's fading there. There's a bit of fade there. I feel like there's some things that could be touched up a lot. Like, look at that. The bleed is very noticeable right there as well. If you're gonna do an all tattooed body, you really need to knock it out of the park on the details, and to make sure there are no bleeds, because otherwise it's not gonna look as good as you would hope it to look. I also think there's a bit of issues with the dye there, in the sense of, like, I can see the purple underneath the pink there, and I can kind of see the pink there as well. And you need to touch up the beard a little bit, because as you can see there's like a bit of pink and purple on the beard, so that needs to be touched up as well. See, for someone who's putting a lot of time clearly on like tattoos and stuff, I was kind of expecting more from the gear. The gear is a bit too simple for my liking, and I would have liked to have seen a bit more personality, because all I'm seeing is like a Judgment Day member, basically. That's really all I'm seeing, and I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of what you could do, because it's very obvious from the tattoos and stuff that you clearly, like, even with the piercings and the look, you clearly have an eye for the details. So I would have really liked to have seen that come out in the gear. I think that is going to be what holds you down the most, because right now, bro looks like, you know, a Judgment Day member. Bro is Damian Priest! Blood is Damian Priest! Pretty much, minus the long hair. But it's an alright core. Technically, there are some things that could be very much tweaked, but it's not a bad core. There are things that could be tweaked and improved on to make it even better. So where does the Outsider go on the tier list? I think the fact that it's got the tattoos all over the body, but there's bleed, I think is a massive issue. And I think for that, and the fact that the gear could have been so much more, even just a custom logo would have helped out crazily. I would say a high B tier. The final core for review today is William Styles. Now, first impressions, different, unique, something different to what I usually review. So there's no face morphing here. I'm like 95% certain there isn't. Yeah, I mean, the fact that that's like 58, 36, it's usually like the default. It is a template that people don't often use. So I am gonna give you props for that. I would have liked to have just seen a little bit more face morphing. That's really it, right? It's like, I'll always say it. I'm all for uniqueness, so just a little bit of face morphing goes a long way. Trust me. But then we get into the gear, and the gear isn't actually all that bad. It's a little bit garish, it's a little bit gaudy, granted, but I do like it to an extent. I'm not a fan of the Bullet Club logo, but it does say Styles Club there, so I get it. It's probably your thing. That's fine. I just think it's big 2025. Why are we using the Bullet Club logo when we can use our own logos? I like that. That's nice. This is nice too. You know, you got a lot of like cool elements to this. I like the I like the hat. I like the fact it's got Dior on it. I like the Dior singlet. That's really cool too. I like the look. Again, I just don't see the need for the Bullet Club logo when you could come up with something on your own, you know, like, cool, you've got the Styles Club that's kind of based off of Bullet Club. So now, take that, maybe take like the star motif, maybe take the crowns, because you've got a lot of stars, so maybe take the star and try and make a star in the Bullet Club style, and that's your logo right there for the Styles Club. I'm thinking that's probably where I could see you improve. And then this gear, I like the singlet. Again, the Bullet Club logo just sticks out like a sore thumb to me. That's the problem, right? It's like everything else is really good. Like even this look here, right? Like with a little bit of morphing, maybe even a little bit of like wrinkles and blemishes, this could be a really nice looking face here. Honestly, I think this is a solid core, but like, let me have a quick little look at the second attire, just so I have. This is nice. Again, I just don't vibe with this logo. But apart from that, like, it's honestly solid. It's solid. So where does William Styles go on the tier list? I think you've got the tools to be a really cool core, and one that could even be like a top tier core. I'm not seeing it today, but if you come back, I'm sure there might be a chance where you make it even higher. I'm gonna say a high B tier. So that was the core review. As always, if you want to get involved, we're still on 2k24. Go ahead and drop your cores to the hashtag breadstick. Core reviews, more of them right here. And if you've seen all of the core reviews already, YouTube thinks you'll really like this video, so go ahead and check that out. See ya!